but they're going to fucking do it anyway. And mark my words, Cincinnati's going to wind up killing this fucking kid. So Joe Mixon, good guy to have. And hey, you can't plan on an injury. I'm just saying, you got two guys on your squad that an injury really fucking throws a wrench into your gears because you're pretty weak at the tight end position. Trey Burton, even with the Trubisky throwing to him, he's not seeing a hell of a lot of action. He's really spreading it around to his wide receivers and to his running backs. More importantly, as a Tariq Cohen owner in another league, short passes. He's a rookie quarterback. He had that 6 touchdown game, so management, coaches, they can have more faith in him. Let him throw the ball a little more, not hand it off. But ultimately, they're not really looking at him to air it out just yet, They have a great defense. If you play safe, small ball, you find your way into the playoffs. But are the Chicago Bears good enough of a team that they can afford 2 to 3 interceptions per game? I don't think so. So he's not throwing these very much into high traffic situations that you're looking at with a tight end. Tight ends don't really break loose unless you're an Ertz or a Kelsey. But, it's rare to find a elusive, wide open tight end in football right now. So you do have Evan Ingram, who I love, but, again, you're playing for the New York Giants. Fantasy's one thing. Somehow Odell is putting up numbers, beating garbage time or not, and Saquon is, but how many mouths do you think are going to eat in fantasy football in New York with the Giants, with Eli Manning throwing to him, with a fan base that's turning on him, a star player that's sabotaging the team, a quarterback that everyone just knows he's done, and the poor bastard, they're just leaving him out there. They fucked up his consistent start record last year, benched him for Geno Smith, and then made him come in at the end of the game. Here's an organization that doesn't deserve to win anything. You're in one of the weakest divisions in football, and you're just pure trash. Your fans hate you. You're the laughing stock of the NFL. The Raiders are bad, but at least you could say Gruden's a great football mind and he's rebuilding, They're going to look mighty silly next year if this rebuild that they're going through doesn't show any signs of hope. But the Giants came into the season like, we got Saquon Barkley and Odell Beckham Jr. We're like a team to fucking beat. Our defense is always good. Words. And then you're fucking dreadful. You are a horrible organization. So, Evan Ingram, great athlete, bad team. Too many people are already eating. I'm not confident with him. Don't take it to heart. Don't take it too serious because I shit on my own team first. I shit on my team for 20 fucking minutes to start this thing. So all of this is constructive. I'm feeling tension and anxiety coming into the end of this season, to the tail end, the back end of the second half of the season. So I want all you motherfuckers to feel it too. Don't go to sleep with both eyes closed. Always sleep with one eye open. When you hear your phone go off at 4 in the morning on Wednesday, you check to see if you got those players, and then you check the waiver wire to see if anything fucking slipped through the cracks. So now, let's go to the third place team, tied for second with wins. Mike Griffin started off the season really big, and then showed a little bit of vulnerability in his game. Kamara is not going to be putting up a lot of 40 bangers anymore with Ingram back. It's luckily for you and for me, as I own him in another league, and I love Alvin Kamara. Can't say enough about the guy. He's fucking tough. He's fast. He's strong. He's great between tackles. He sets blocks. He sets things up. Him and Breeze have this connection. And even though he's a receiving back, the guy does not get nearly enough credit for how many yards he puts up. When he rushes the ball, he's almost a locked-in 5 every time. I mean, you got garbage time games where you know he's going to rush it. He runs right at the defense and takes off for 60 fucking yards. The guy is incredible. So that's a guy that I'm strong. I'm happy to have. But the first week he didn't play was the week I'm sorry, the first week that Mark Ingram did play was the first week that you stopped enjoying being in the first place. It's the sad reality that it's not a 50-50 split like last year, which sucks because Ingram is such a good running back. You want to be able to start him, but at this point he's a strong flex. He's not an RB2. Kamara never stops being an RB1 because he's Alvin Kamara. I mean, the guy is the guy that they're going to 8 times out of 10 for a fucking touchdown now. It's crazy. I've never seen a guy so well defended every play just make it happen. The guy's got great hands. He's tough as nails. Alvin Kamara, ride him. Adam Thielen, hey man, what the fuck else am I going to say? Adam fucking Thielen, undrafted free agent. Adam Thielen having the year of a lifetime. Really great to see that happen for him. It was his fucking dream to play in the NFL. The guy wasn't drafted. And now he's sitting at number 15 overall in fantasy football this year. That's really crazy, man. You got to keep in mind this includes quarterbacks. This includes like crazy defenses. 15, 30, 25, 30, 25, 30, 25, 22. I mean, these are bankable numbers that are higher than almost anybody at the wide receiver position. I mean, I would put him up there by himself, if I'm being completely honest. Talent-wise, numbers-wise, that he is the #1 overall wide receiver to have in fantasy football this year. I mean, the guy's worst game was 15 points. It's fucking crazy, man. Julio doesn't have a touchdown. Odell's got, what, 1? Mike Evans has 0 yards after catches. Brandon Cooks gets a touchdown and fucking gets his cage rattled and he can't play for 3 weeks. I mean, the big name wide receivers are not holding a candle to Adam Thielen. Antonio Brown seems to just be waking up, but man, this guy's been doing it for 8 weeks now. And let's just look at his yards here. "12 targets, 102 yards. 13 targets, 131 yards. 19 targets, 105 yards. 12 targets for 135, 10 for 116, 13 for 123, 10 for 110, 7 for 7, 103. The guy is incredible. I have no words. Adam Thielen is the best wide receiver in football right now. Money in the bank fantasy football. If you're losing a game by 15 points and you have Adam Thielen, you're like, all right, cool, I won. It's like saying, would you rather be down in a game with Tom Brady in 2 minutes or be the team that's up? You'd rather be down and have Tom Brady with 2 minutes. I'd rather be down 15 points with Adam Thielen than be the team that's up, to be honest with you. So between him and Kamara, that's amazing. Tyreek Hill has shown some flaws in his game. Again, he's 19th overall, which is fucking great. But you got to keep in mind, a lot of these numbers are coming in huge spurts. Thielen is giving you 20 plus every single game. He's not breaking 30, but he's also not dipping below 15 ever. Tyreek Hill, we have 53. Whoa. 20. Hey, listen, you're not going to score 50 twice in a row. 9. Pretty fucking bad game. 18. All right. 12. 41. 22. 12. For my money, a guy you're starting as a wide receiver 1 or 2, you want 20 points every single game, man. Hey, 50's great. 40's awesome. But it doesn't make up for those 11s, 12s, 9s, you know? He's a extremely talented athlete, and he has the best quarterback he could ever be tailored to. Because he could outrun any defender, and he could out-throw any defender. So I wouldn't be worried there. I'm just trying to make you nervous, I guess, because I'm nervous about my guys. But, you know, anybody that has Tyreek Hill, Adam Thielen, and Alvin Kamara, you're looking pretty fucking solid, man. You're looking pretty locked in, ready to go with those guys. As far as the rest of your lineup goes, I say not great. Tight end, Austin Hooper. I remember a week or two ago you just didn't have one, and you picked him up on a flyer. I mean, he plays for Atlanta, so he's always prone to get points, but, you know, at the same time, he might do nothing. Who knows? You know, it's Austin fucking Hooper. He's been in the league for a few years, and you know, he's like, whatever. You know, that guy. More of a flex, and you unfortunately have to use him as a starter, and you have no depth behind him, so that's not a great situation for you. Your second running back situation is kind of a fucking mess. Alex Collins, Jalen Richard, you know, not amazing. Wendell Smallwood. Your flex situation is full of booms or busts. Devin Funchess, you got Grant in Miami, you got Benjamin Watson, Nelson Aguilar. These aren't guys that are really going to win you a game, but they can lose you one. When you need 10 points and they hit you with a real stinker, like a 5 or a 4. They're guys with talent, and they're guys that I don't blame you for rostering, but I wouldn't want to have to start them. Matt Stafford, always bankable for fantasy football. Quietly putting together a pretty solid season, but as far as fantasy quarterback numbers go, you have the 16 in the first week, gross, but that was that fluke game against the Jets, which, you know, all of us fuck a fat girl once, you know, you'd hate to be defined by it, so we'll give him a break. You got a 34, 25, 30, 22, 22, 24. I'm seeing a lot of sub-30 games here for a Matt Stafford when, you know, to be honest, you had Tate Jones and Galladay, and you're really not utilizing Galladay at all. You have next to no run. You know, you have a quasi-run game, not a great one, but you have kind of a run game, but definitely not one that should distract you from throwing the fucking ball, Matt Stafford. So I'm happy Mike Griffin has him because I'm not afraid of him, you know, but it is what it is. So then next you got Morrow's team. Morrow is 4th place. Again, another 5-3 team. I'm seeing another really good lineup, but with some question marks there. You got Aaron Rodgers, which is always a great guy to have. The problem with Rodgers is definitely always going to be his health. The guy has turned into basically Tony Romo, where he's fine, and then one play and he's fucking out for the rest of the year. So, you know, sleep with one eye open with this fucking guy. But for the most part, you know, you got 35, 20, not great, 28, 21, 38, 38. So he's hanging 40 bombs. He's strung together 2 38-point games in a row. This is when the season means something. It's boiling down. They're looking like there's no way they're going to catch up to the Bears. The Bears seem to have kind of a superior team over them. So he's going to heat up, is what I'm saying. He's going to heat up because he wants to be in first. He doesn't want to go for a wild card. He wants to be in first. He wants to play in Green Bay. So, good quarterback to have, so long as he stays healthy. Michael Thomas, of course, very high on him. Own him in another league. Michael Thomas has unexpectedly put together a couple, a month worth of really underproducing weeks. After starting off so strong, his reception percentage per target is second to none. The guy catches everything that comes towards him. I think he caught something like fucking 48 of his first 50 targets, which is like insane. The thing is, I don't know what's happening with Drew Brees and him there. I expect him to start blowing up again. I hope, I really hope, not for you, for me. One of the best receivers in the game. He just has not been getting it done the last few weeks. Going into the bye, he hit you with an 8 and an 11 after going 37, 30, 23. Then he comes out with an 8 and 11. Then, you know, you come out of the bye, you know, Projected 19.12, gets 19.9. All right, he's hitting his projections against a stout Baltimore defense. 20 points, I'll take it. 14 points against Minnesota. Again, they're a tough defense, but that was a game that Drew Brees was picking them apart. And then, you know, I watched the game, and I wouldn't say I'm worried. It seemed like they just kind of stopped throwing the ball altogether. You know, they were just rushing Mark Ingram to rush the clock out. I don't know if they were intimidated by Minnesota. I wouldn't be too nervous. Obviously, he's a locked and loaded must-start wide receiver 1, but a month worth of no 20-point games is, man, that's like working 3 shifts at the Cheesecake Factory and not getting a $20 tip. You know, that's a rough situation to be in, but I wouldn't be too nervous. So you got Rodgers and Thomas. Tariq Cohen, love him. High point of your team there, because your running backs stink. Your running backs stink, dude. You have a lot of them, and just, you know, trying to catch lightning in a bottle, and it just keeps escaping you. Because outside of him, you have Isaiah Crowell, who is a perennial bum. I think we could say that. He underperforms every single year, whether it be for Cleveland. I guess now you could say he's overperforming because, you know, he came from Cleveland and went to the Jets. It's like leaving a girl because she has herpes and then marrying a girl with chlamydia, you know? Like, God, two trash organizations. It's really hard to root for. Shows flashes. Ultimately, he's a guy that's projected 11, 12 points a week. If he hits 20, everybody in New York goes crazy, and he doesn't really do terribly much after that. What else? You got David Johnson. I'm so sorry. David Johnson, I can't believe he's even ranked in the top 75, coming in at 66. Came in as number 3, is at 66. 17, 6, 17, 17, 21, 11, 10, 14. Really bad team he's playing on, but you can't blame it all on the team because great players find a way to shine through the shit. Look at Saquon Barkley. You know? It sucks that you have him because you might have to start him, and you might need 20 points out of the guy, and he might not get it done for you, which is crazy. Doug Martin, I mean, someone had to pick him up. Good for you for not starting him. You know, it's Doug Martin. The guy moves at a fucking snail's pace. He's just a battering ram to eat up minutes at the end of a game when you're up. You know, that's all he is. You're not trusting him to fucking score touchdowns. Oakland is so bad, and they don't have any chance of doing anything relevant for the rest of the season, other than maybe having the worst non-0-16 season of all time. You know, maybe it might be a benefactor of that, but it really is difficult to start a guy like him. And then you have, yeah, so that's it. Your running back situation is kind of a mess. But Tariq Cohen, man, I love that kid. He is the future of the Bears. Him and Trubisky together are going to make some big things happen on both sides of the ball. That's great. Kenny Golladay, fucking what a stud, what a disappointment. I traded Philip Lindsay for him in my other league. And when I did it, they were even. And now Golladay is just, he had one fucking reception, one target last week. How is this happening? The guy started the season 18-20, 18-12-20. And has strung together a 5 and a 2 after that. The guy's got to blow up without Golden Tate there. Marvin Jones or Golden Tate? Golden Tate. With him gone, I mean, if Golladay can't step it up this week, right away, even if it's against Minnesota, I don't care if he scores 0 fantasy points. I want to see at least 7 targets. If I don't see at least 7 targets or a big game out of a small amount of targets, like 5 targets, goes for 97 yards and 2 touchdowns. If I don't see something out of this fucking guy this week, I'm going to lose my fucking mind because he's so talented. He is what that team needs. He is what Matt Stafford needs. He is the elite big man, big receiver that this team needs, and they're not using him, and it's driving me fucking crazy. Matt Patricia, you fucking asshole. Wake the fuck up. You were a defensive coach. What defense would ever want to face this fucking monster of a human being? And you're just not using him. Figure it the fuck out. You gotta play Kenny Galladay, and it sucks for you, Morrow, because you have to keep him on your bench right now because he's really stinging together a couple fucking stinkers, but you're starting him. I appreciate your loyalty. I'm benching him for Josh Gordon. I don't know what else to do, man. It's getting really fucking frustrating. You got Eckler. Who knows? Jimmy Graham, good tight end to have, obviously. Not having a great year, which is pretty surprising. Playing with Aaron Rodgers. Has yet to have a 20-point game. So, yeah, no, he's having a stinker of a year. Owned by 98% of leagues because he was so good with Drew Brees. You're just hoping that Jimmy Graham comes back. That Jimmy Graham's never coming back. I'm convinced if he went back to New Orleans, he would still be that same Jimmy Graham. There's something that he had with Drew Brees that he is just not going to have with anybody else. Don't love your tight end situation. I think you're showing some kinks in your armor. You had a very strong draft, a very strong start to the season, but I think you are on the cusp of being knocked out of the playoffs at this point, sitting at 4th place at 5-3, along with the second, 3rd, and 5th place teams. Now you have the team that I am honestly the most scared of, Alex's team. You got Tom Brady, Antonio Brown, Julio Jones, James White, Ezekiel Elliott. Like, what? How did this happen? How does this happen? You have Tom Brady, Antonio Brown, Julio Jones, James White, Ezekiel Elliott. I mean, Elliott's not having a great season, but he's still 18, 20, 14, 35, 15, 18. He had a stinker with a 6 in the last one. Whatever, he's still Ezekiel Elliott. He's going to put up numbers. He's going to score touchdowns. Other than this last game, he's got a bankable floor. James White has become an elite running back 1. Out of the clear blue sky, he is Tom Brady's new Kevin Falk or Shane Vereen, his short dink and dunk guy. Guy fucking is a touchdown machine, a huge target. Rush it. James White, bargain pick of the fucking draft, in my opinion. Julio Jones doesn't have a touchdown yet. Depressing, still puts up numbers. The guy is fucking in the top 50. 28, 12, 16, 28, 12, 25, 17, not bad numbers. I start him every week. Antonio Brown, probably the most talented receiver in football. Him and Adam Thielen are in a class of their own. 25, 16, 18, 18, 30, 23, 28. Antonio Brown, Ben Roethlisberger, November, December football. I don't know if you all are new to this fucking game, but this is where it gets fucking real. You play Antonio Brown, fucking throw the projections out the window, add 10 points to whatever Yahoo says it's going to be because AB's going to fucking eat. He steps up in the clutch. He doesn't drop the ball. He doesn't get hurt. He scores touchdowns. He burns defenders. Antonio Brown's going to make it happen. I honestly am worried most about Tom Brady for you because he winds up in these low-scoring games all of a sudden later on in his career, these 17-14s, 14-9s, you know, weird games like that. James White gets a lot of work. So you're always running a risk that you're going to get a stinker out of Brady fantasy-wise, but the New England Patriots win the game. They don't care. New England Patriots hate fantasy football because their lowest depth-ranked guys put up 20 fucking points. Well, you got Gronkowski and Brady sitting with like 15. It's crazy. We're looking at 31, 21, 11, 31, 39, 28, 33, 16. So you have 1, 2, borderline 3 games under 20 points from Tom Brady. So that's pretty hard to stomach if you ask me. You got one game actually under 10 points, so that's really tough to stomach. You got to worry about that going into the playoffs. But as far as I'm concerned, if I have Tom Brady on my team, I'm hoping the guy is putting up 25, 30 points every week, which for the most part he does. Nick Chubb, you're really hoping this guy goes off because your tight end situation isn't great. You have Eric Ebron. The unfortunate thing there is that Jack Doyle is back and immediately came back and scored a touchdown and had more targets and more yards. Despite Ebron's great performance, I think he's earned a spot on the team, and I think he's earned a couple snaps per game. But Jack Doyle is ultimately Andrew Luck's boy. He's going to look for Doyle before he looks for Ebron. And with Ebron on the field, he might be looking for somebody else like T.Y. Hilton or something. So Ebron never really fantasy relevant. Had a nice month over there in Indy, but I wouldn't bank on it. Fitzgerald, I'm sorry to say, he's done. One of the best ever to play the game. One of the classiest guys to play the game. One of the best fantasy footballers of all time. Love the guy. Not startable at this point. You got Sonny over in New England. James White is the running back to own, and you have him. I think this is a situation like a Kamara Ingram or like possibly my future with Bell and Connor. I think you got to start both those guys, which kind of puts you in a bind because if New England doesn't have a great game or if they don't use the rushing game, you're using two spots to maybe build up 20 points, and that's not the situation you want to be in leading into the playoffs. However, again, you have Antonio Brown and Julio Jones, so your pass attack is great. You got a great quarterback. You got at least one Patriot running back that's going to put up some points. That's typically going to be enough to push you through a couple games. I think you probably might, on paper, have the best team right now as far as performance goes. Which, what the fuck else are you looking at besides performance? I mean, Ezekiel Elliott's underperforming for Ezekiel Elliott, but he's still a startable running back in any format. Dallas just stinks. It's not his fault they stink. He's doing his job. He's going out there. He's taking hit after hit after hit. He's breaking tackles. He's jumping over guys. He's catching balls. Dallas just stinks, and he is just the unfortunate benefactor of being the focal point of the defense, considering that their #1 wide receiver is Cole Beasley. So that's all I'll say about that, because I can't even believe those words just came out of my mouth. Not that I don't like Cole Beasley, but him being the #1 receiver on your football team does not bode well for your season. Good thing for them is they play in a fucking division with the Giants and the Redskins and perennially have a chance to make it. The Eagles have become the champions of that division handily. I don't think any team is remotely close, talent-wise, staff-wise, depth-wise, coaching-wise, than the Eagles in the NFC East. They are a hell of a team. Congratulations on their Super Bowl win. But do I think there's a couple divisions that they don't win? Sure, I do. But, they're going to be the guys to beat. At 4-4, still relevant somehow. Killer Shay's team. I'm looking at it, and I guess he is where he deserves to be. Not at the bottom, not at the top. You got Phil Rivers, perennial guy you want to have throwing the ball for you in fantasy. He's going to put up his numbers. He'll get it done every week. What are we looking at here? 40, 30, 25, 30, 30, 25, 30. Getting it done. Top 10 scoring in old fantasy football, so that's great. Doug Baldwin, perennial wash-up, overhyped. At the beginning of the year, they project him 20 points a game. That goes down to 17, still elite. Goes down to 15, still got to start him. Now he's in the 12s. Tyler Lockett's the guy to own on that team, unfortunately. Ed Dixon coming back. Russell Wilson loves his tight ends. Ed Dixon's going to play a big part of that role. Chris Carson's starting to step up, move the rock pretty well, and Russell likes to run. So, really kind of unfortunate, but Doug Baldwin is not a viable, wide receiver 1